A call for more Army recruits in the Philippine province nearest to Taiwan. The Philippines wants to improve its defense posture in Batanes as Beijing insists on Taiwan's reunification with the Chinese mainland. Bianca Daba has tonight's top story.
The Philippine Army is encouraging residents of Batanes to become Army reservists. Philippine Army Commanding General Roy Galido made the call following Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr.'s directive to increase military presence in the country's northernmost province as part of its strategic archipelagic defense posture.
The defense of the country will not only involve the regular troops but also our reservists. We're not planning to deploy. We're encouraging our fellow Filipinos to volunteer to be patriots and be reservists. Kasi we don't need to deploy them because they're already residents in the area. So the more we get reservists, the better for our country.
The Army has an existing Extension Community Defense Center in Batanes where residents can apply to become reservists. The question is, are communities in Batanes willing to volunteer to serve the country? Batanes is being eyed as one of the venues of this year's exercise Balikatan between Manila and Washington. Mavulis Island in Batanes is located just less than 150 kilometers from Taiwan's southernmost tip.
May kanya-kanyang sector tayo ng major services, especially doon sa areas that there are inter-island movements. We use forces na meron inter-island capabilities just like the Marines. Kaya nakita sa Mavulis, there are Marine contingent there because they have the platform to go to islands. But more importantly, we have Army reservists in that area contributing to the defense.
Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo guaranteed that the Philippines' position on the West Philippine Sea issue has not changed. During a forum with the Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines, Manalo was asked about the last two Philippine resupply missions, which were not met by any resistance from both China's Coast Guard and Chinese maritime militia vessels.
If China wishes to de-escalate, then obviously that is their prerogative. But there was no understanding or on that particular point. Of course, we have discussed other issues with China on South China Sea, but not on that particular point. So yes, there's been no special arrangement or agreement.
The Philippines and China convened the bilateral consultation mechanism on the South China Sea last January 17 amid increasing tensions between the Philippines and China in several hotspot areas in the South China Sea. Manalo also reiterated that the Philippines is firmly committed to negotiations on a code of conduct between ASEAN and China.
Is multi-pronged. First, we have the dialogue with China. Okay, we have that existing bilateral mechanism to discuss differences. Obviously, these are very complex. So these dialogues will take time, they're a process. At the same time, we're reaching out to our partners in the region and outside the region. For example, we are now have a strategic partnership with Vietnam. We have a strategic partnership with Australia and also with Japan.
Manalo added that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will be visiting Australia, Germany, and the Czech Republic this month and in March to boost Philippine relations with these countries. Whether the talks will include expanded maritime and defense security cooperation remains to be seen. Bianca Dava, ABS-CBN News.